This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to our daily sports roundup. We have a packed show today, covering historic records on the track, major retirement news in hockey, and controversial ejections on the basketball court. Let's dive in.
Sebastian Sawe shatters the 2-hour marathon world record.
Kenya Sawe makes history with London's first sub-2-hour win.
Arch Manning leads the 2027 NFL draft betting odds.
Ans Kopitar retires after 2 decades with the Kings.
Mo Salah's Liverpool career likely ends due to injury.
Lakers and Rockets baffled by DeAndre Ayton's Game 4 ejection.
Rockets call Ayton's controversial flagrant foul call soft.
Ducks push Oilers to the brink with overtime victory.
Starting with the marathon. The sports world is still reeling from what happened at the London Marathon. Sebastian Sawe didn't just win. He obliterated the mythical 2-hour barrier, finishing in a staggering 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds. This is a moment many experts thought we might never see in a competitive open-course race. Sawe took a full 65 seconds off the previous world record held by Kelvin Kiptum. The conditions were absolutely perfect, with temperatures in the low 50s and a helpful tailwind during those grueling final miles. Sawe was part of the lead pack from the start, but he really turned on the jets in the second half, running that portion in 59:01. It was a masterclass in pacing and endurance that has completely rewritten the history books for long-distance running.
It wasn't just Sawe who was flying out there. Ethiopia's Yomif Kejelcha, who was actually running his very first marathon, finished just 11 seconds behind Sawe. That means we had 2 men under the 2-hour mark in the same race, which is just mind-boggling. Even the third-place finisher, Jacob Kiplimo, came in at 2 hours 0 minutes and 28 seconds, which would have beaten the old world record. On the women's side, Tigst Esefa also set an all-time best for a women's-only race at 2 hours 15 minutes and 41 seconds. Sawe mentioned afterward that he had been preparing specifically for London for 4 months, and that focus clearly paid off. He looked incredibly strong as he discarded Kejelcha right before the finish line on the Mall. It truly was a day where the limits of human performance were pushed further than ever before.
Next up, building on that incredible performance, it's worth noting the sheer scale of Sawe's achievement in the context of the London Marathon's history. By becoming the first person to run a sub-2-hour marathon to win in London, he has cemented his legacy in one of the world's most prestigious races. Sawe was quick to share the glory, thanking the massive crowds that lined the streets of the British capital. He noted that this victory wasn't just for him, but for everyone in London that day. The way he pulled clear after the 30-kilometer mark showed a level of tactical brilliance. He waited until the final 2 kilometers to make his definitive solo break, sprinting toward the finish line on the Mall with a level of energy that seemed impossible after running over 24 miles at record speed.
The depth of talent in this race was truly historic. As we mentioned, Kejelcha's debut was legendary, and Kiplimo's third-place finish was also faster than Kelvin Kiptum's 2023 Chicago record. It's a complete shift in the landscape of the sport. We also saw dominance in the wheelchair races, with Switzerland taking a double victory. Marcel Hug secured his 6th straight men's title, which is his 8th overall, while Catherine de Brunner defended her title in a very close finish against Tatiana McFadden. Even Tigst Esefa's win in the women's race, while slightly slower than Paula Radcliffe's 2003 mixed race record, stands as the fastest ever in a women's-only field. The 29-year-old Sawe has now retained his title in London in the most spectacular fashion imaginable, proving that the sub-2-hour mark is the new standard for elite marathoners.
Now let's shift to switching gears to football. The 2027 NFL draft might seem far away, but the betting markets are already heating up, and a very familiar name is at the top. Arch Manning is currently the favorite to go number 1 overall at plus 225 odds. This comes after Fernando Mendoza was taken first by the Raiders this year, continuing the trend of quarterbacks dominating the top spot. Arch, the grandson of Archie and nephew of Peyton and Eli, is carrying a massive weight of expectation. Last season at Texas was his first as a collegiate starter, and while it had some rocky moments, he finished incredibly strong. He threw 15 touchdowns in his final 8 games, leading the Longhorns to a 7-1 record in that stretch. His performance in the bowl game win over Michigan really solidified his status as a top-tier prospect.
The odds board is absolutely stacked with quarterbacks behind Manning. Dante Moore is sitting at plus 380 after a stellar season at Oregon where he threw for over 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns. Then you have C.J. Carr at Notre Dame and Lenoris Sellers at South Carolina, also in the mix. It's clear that NFL teams are still desperate for franchise signal callers. For Manning, the key was his improved accuracy and decision-making as the season progressed. He cut down his interceptions significantly in the second half of the year. While he only completed about 61% of his passes overall, the upward trajectory is what has scouts and bettors excited. If he continues this development at Texas, he could very well follow in the footsteps of his uncles as a number 1 overall pick, keeping the Manning dynasty alive in the NFL.
Moving on to hockey. In Los Angeles, an era has officially come to an end. Anze Kopitar, the longtime captain of the Kings, played his final NHL game on Sunday. It was a bittersweet conclusion, as the Kings were swept out of the first round by a very powerful Colorado Avalanche team. Despite the loss, the scene at center ice was incredibly moving. Kopitar took a final lap, raising his arm to thank the fans who have supported him for 2 decades. He arrived in LA as a teenager from Slovenia and leaves as the franchise leader in games played and points. He led the team to 2 Stanley Cup championships during that golden era from 2012 to 2014. Kopitar admitted it was hard to keep it together, noting that he has spent more than half of his life with the Kings organization.
Kopitar's impact on Southern California hockey cannot be overstated. He served as captain for 10 years and was the face of the franchise through the good times and the lean years. Even as the Kings struggled to get past the first round in recent seasons, Kopitar remained a model of consistency and leadership. During the final game, he realized with about 5 minutes left that his career was truly over, a feeling he said he had never experienced in 20 years. He retires with his legacy secured, surrounded by his wife and children on the ice. While the 5-1 loss to the Avalanche wasn't the fairy tale ending he hoped for, the standing ovation from the fans and the respect shown by his teammates and opponents alike proved that he is one of the most respected figures in the game.
Next, in soccer, Liverpool fans are facing a heartbreaking reality, as it appears Mohamed Salah has played his final game for the club. The Egyptian forward suffered a serious hamstring tear during a 3-1 win over Crystal Palace, and the update from the Egypt national team director, Ibrahim Hassan, is quite bleak. Salah is expected to be out for at least 4 weeks, which effectively rules him out for the remainder of the Premier League season. Since Salah has already confirmed he will be leaving Anfield when his contract expires in June, this injury likely robs him of a proper on-pitch farewell. It's a sudden and cruel end for a player who has scored 257 goals and won nearly every trophy possible during his 9 years on Merseyside. Manager Arne Slot expressed deep frustration, calling it the story of their season.
The sight of Salah limping off in the 60th minute while applauding the crowd is now the final competitive image fans will have of him in a Liverpool shirt. Slot noted that Salah's immediate insistence on leaving the pitch was the clearest sign that the injury was significant, as the forward is known for his desire to play through almost anything. Instead of a final goal-scoring heroics, Salah's goodbye will likely be limited to a speech after the final home game. It's a massive blow for Liverpool's remaining fixtures as they try to navigate the end of the season without their most influential player. Salah's departure marks the end of one of the most successful individual eras in the club's long history, leaving a void that will be incredibly difficult for the team to fill next season.
Turning to basketball. The NBA playoffs are always intense, but a bizarre ejection in the Lakers-Rockets Game 4 has everyone scratching their heads. DeAndre Ayton was tossed after being assessed a flagrant 2 foul for an elbow to the back of Alperen Sengun's head. While the contact was clear, almost no one involved felt it rose to the level of an ejection. Ayton was battling in the post when his arm seemed to slip off Sengun's sweaty shoulder, leading to the accidental contact. Lakers coach J.J. Redick defended Ayton, calling him a kind soul and insisting there was nothing malicious about the play. Even LeBron James weighed in, saying you'd have to be incredibly skilled to hit someone like that on purpose. The Lakers were already trailing significantly when the call was made, making the loss even harder to swallow.
Ayton himself was very apologetic after the game, explaining that he was simply trying to brace for contact. He pointed out that both he and Sengun were sweaty, which caused his arm to slip. He was adamant that he isn't a dirty player and would never intentionally try to hurt an opponent. The officiating crew, led by James Williams, stood by the call after a video review, but the consensus from the Lakers' locker room was that it was a gross overreaction. Marcus Smart didn't hold back, calling the decision total nonsense. It's a frustrating turn of events for Ayton, who has been working on increasing his physicality and aggression. To be ejected for a play that he felt was a complete accident is a tough pill to bear as the Lakers head into a must-win Game 5.
More on that. What makes the Ayton ejection even more unusual is that even the Houston Rockets thought the call was soft. Alperen Sengun, the player who took the hit, said he didn't expect Ayton to be ejected and described the foul as unnecessary but not excessive. Rockets coach Ime Udoka agreed, using the word soft to describe the flagrant 2 designation. It's rare to see both teams so aligned against an officiating decision. Despite the ejection, Sengun remained in the game and finished with 19 points, helping the Rockets secure a 115-96 victory and force a Game 5. For Ayton, this was the first ejection of his 8-year career, which is notable given that he's often criticized for being too finesse-oriented rather than too physical. The Lakers had even given him a custom shirt featuring a lion to encourage more intensity.
The Lakers' leadership was actually proud of how Ayton handled the situation. Marcus Smart praised his composure, noting that it would have been easy for Ayton to lose his cool after such a controversial call. Instead, he put his head down and walked to the locker room. Before the ejection, Ayton was having a solid game with 19 points and 10 rebounds, showing the exact kind of aggression the coaching staff has been asking for. It's a strange irony that he finally gets tossed just as he's starting to play with the edge the team needs. Now, the Lakers have to regroup for Wednesday's game at Crypto.com Arena. They'll need Ayton's presence in the paint, but they'll also need him to avoid any more run-ins with the officials as they try to avoid a total collapse in the series.
Finally, back to hockey. The Anaheim Ducks are proving to be the comeback kings of the NHL this season. In Game 4 against the Edmonton Oilers, they rallied from an early 2-goal deficit to win 4-3 in overtime. Taking a commanding 3-1 series lead, Ryan Poehling was the hero, scoring just over 2 minutes into the extra period. His shot from a sharp angle hit an Edmonton skate and slowly trickled past goalie Tristan Jarry. It was a play that required an extensive video review, as it wasn't immediately clear if the puck had fully crossed the line. The Ducks have now recorded 10 multi-goal comebacks this season, which is the best in the league. They are playing with an incredible level of connection and confidence, pushing the back-to-back Western Conference champion Oilers to the very brink of elimination.
The Oilers were understandably frustrated with the overtime goal. Coach Chris Knoblauch mentioned that he couldn't see the puck cross the line on the replays and felt the initial call on the ice was delayed. However, the Ducks' resilience throughout the game was undeniable. Jeffrey Veal tied the game late in the third period, and Lucas Dostal was spectacular in net, making 24 saves including some huge stops on Connor McDavid in the final minutes. Anaheim's power play also came through with goals from Cutter Gauthier and Mikhail Granlund. Defenseman Jackson Lacombe continues to lead the NHL in postseason scoring, adding 2 more assists to his total. As the series shifts back to Edmonton for Game 5, the Ducks have all the momentum, while the Oilers are left searching for answers to stop Anaheim's relentless offensive pressure.
That wraps up our sports briefing for today. Be sure to follow us for your daily update on all the major stories. We will be back tomorrow with more. Thanks for listening.